YouTube. My name is Mystic, and today we are going to learn about 25 common misconceptions about the United States that simply aren't true. Now, I'm not quite sure when this video was, so maybe some of these will be true now, coming from an American Southerner born and raised. Let's see how true these things are. Let me see what year this is from. Ooh, 2019. 7 years ago. Hell yeah. List 25.
The United States often draws a lot of flack from the rest of the world for
good reasons.
Everything. From
Fair
its
enough.
foreign policy to the way it runs its domestic affairs. In fact, it seems like there are few things that can divide the world more evenly and more strongly than asking people what their opinion is of the United States.
It sucks.
Everyone has an opinion. Even in the same city, you'll meet people who fall on the extreme sides of the spectrum. But what is it exactly that causes...
Try and guess which extreme side I'm on. I'm sure that'll be a really tough thing to figure out. It totally isn't obvious at all.
Causes America to be so messed up? Even America's own politicians can't seem to stop talking about how messed up things are. Well, today we're going to take a deeper look. Are things really as bad as everyone seems to think they are?
Yes.
I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 25 common misconceptions about the United States that simply aren't true. And as a very important note, this list was produced by both a United States citizen and 2 European citizens that relocated to the United States. It's
okay,
written to be
so
as fair as possible.
We're outnumbered then.
No, I'm not 2 Europeans. Or am I?
No, you're not.
All right, let's begin with a really common thought. Americans are ignorant about the world.
Yes.
Americans are held to an unrealistic standard. Since the rest of the world watch our movies and listen to our music, they know a lot about our country. But let's be honest, they never studied it. People actually complain that Americans don't even know that Czechoslovakia doesn't exist anymore. But neither does half the United Kingdom, and they're on the same continent. It turns out that all of us are pretty bad at geography. You'd think America would be better at it, however, considering another common thought is that America spends its days spying on everyone. And that's true.
Do.
But
yeah,
who doesn't? Germany, France, Switzerland, Japan, Iceland, and all the rest of us spy on each other and ourselves. Moving on, America has been called racist.
Yes.
Please don't take this the wrong way. Racism definitely exists, and it makes the news. But you know what else? America also has a vicious media, and all of the world watches it, sometimes more than their own media. So when something super bad happens in other countries, it might not even make the back page. Next, it's a common misconception that Americans don't use public transport. While it's true that we use cars a lot, many regions in America have great public transport, or at least
who are you trying to convince?
Just as good as Europe.
Who are you trying to convince?
Besides, what good is a train if nobody can afford it? We're looking at you, UK. Moving on. America does / is fill in the blank. America is far from being a unified entity. Each state has its own laws, cultures, and quirks. Some states have the death penalty. Some don't.
Good.
Some have strict gun laws, and some don't. Some have free college. Some don't. Some have tax, and...
What state has free college?
Yeah, some don't. So, just like you can't say Europe is so-and-so, you can't say the same about the US.
But Europe is not one country. It's multiple countries. And I mean, the states are kind of like different countries, but it's still overall, technically speaking, one country that speaks the same language. Europe doesn't really speak all the same language, do they?
As an additional note, the states are far more independent than many of us realize. In fact, every state even has its own military, known as the Guard. Furthermore, some states pass legislation that directly contradicts the federal government.
And that's stupid.
This is because in the US, the federal government is not the highest authority, the states are. To further establish the fact that America isn't a single entity, many believe that Americans only speak one language. But that's no different from the rest of the world. Have you ever been to France, or the UK, or Italy, or how about China? Most of them only speak one language too. That being said, over 20% of the US is bilingual. Now,
That's not a high percentage. That's a minority. What do you mean? And also, is that 20%? Who's included in 20%? Is it people who moved here? Because no shit, they're going to be bilingual. Who's included in that 20%? Oh yeah, 20%. Big number. Big number. Okay, sure.
let's talk about the military, because people outside the US will preach that America's military does, again, fill in the blank.
Job.
Nobody is naive enough to think that the US doesn't have selfish interests in mind.
2019 was a different place. Ask any, MAGA conservative. US has the purest of intentions and is totally fighting for our right to freedom that no one is trying to take away from us except our own state and our own country. No other country is trying to do that. Except maybe Israel. Maybe they are.
When it invades a country. There isn't a nation on earth that would do that selflessly. But whenever the bad goes down, it's just as common for other countries to complain that America should do something. On a more or less lighter note, Americans are fat.
Statistically, yes.
You ever been to the UK lately?
No.
There are even scandals because obese patients are getting turned down for surgery. Yes, America does have an obesity problem. But not all citizens are involved in it. I am. A big part of the United States is fairly health conscious and is consistently working to help the overweight population better their lives. Thanks, healthy people.
Give me
and
percentages.
While we aren't perfect, many complain
Give me that 20%.
America is worse than other developed nations in,
yes,
well, everything.
Yes.
There are many statistics, child mortality, literacy, etc., where the U.S. falls behind
the only thing we're good at is our war.
Countries like Norway and Iceland. But those statistics are based on averages. In Norway, most of the 5 million inhabitants are rich, white, and Norwegian. If you took a similar sample of rich, white Americans in the US, you would find that the statistics are almost exactly the same. The fact is that the US is hugely diverse, and the American experience is completely different with and without money. Translation? The problem isn't healthcare or education, it's economic inequality, almost exclusively.
That is also a.
And speaking of inequality, many make the simple but powerful assumption that America just isn't safe. This is usually what foreign citizens say until they actually come here. By the same logic, Paris, Brussels, London, Madrid, and almost every other city in Europe is unsafe as well. Yes, there are guns.
I mean, they have stabbings and pickpocketings.
But most Americans have never seen or heard a gun being fired.
Come to the South, where people just shoot guns off randomly to keep their houses, their house values reasonable. What are you talking about? Americans have never seen or heard a gun being fired? I hear one in my backyard when my roommates shoot them. What?
In fact, most Swiss citizens are much more familiar with gunfire than us Americans. All this being said so far, people still expect all Americans to relish in a life of our stereotypes. Guns, fast food, and freedom!
Hell yeah,
what I'm
brother.
saying is, a lot of the world looks at America as overly patriotic. But here's an honest question. Have you ever met a Russian? Australian?
No.
A proud member of the UK?
No.
There's no shame in having pride in your country.
Well,
us Americans are definitely patriotic.
Thinking your country is the best in the world and that other countries are inferior is probably pretty shameful. I would say that's pretty shameful, right? I don't really see a reason to be proud of this country.
So is the rest of the world, as they should be.
No.
It's not a crime to be proud of where you came from.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop others from thinking we only complain and boast about America whenever we travel abroad. This is largely anecdotal. In America, Americans like to complain just like the rest of us. Only a few of them ever even leave the country, so you're meeting an unrepresentative sample.
Because we're poor, we
But
can't
in
leave.
their defense, many times, they're right. Yes, this can hit hard in the pride spot, but maybe Europeans could stand to smile a bit more, right?
No.
No? Okay, fine. Back to the apathetic, leave me alone face. By the way, that part was written for our European representative. By our European representative. I love all of you. Anyways, statistics viewed by outsiders show that the US is lagging behind. Similar to topics we've already discussed, there's another factor that we have to take into account. Reporting. Every nation reports its own statistics. This means that making statistical comparisons between two developed nations, like the US and the UK, is an exercise in futility. The data is just too close and won't reveal much except that the US counts people one way and the US counts them another. That still doesn't make this misconception true. Americans are fake. Here's the thing. In Europe, citizens are almost proud of the fact that they're really standoffish. But once you get to know them, they're your friend for life. Well, here's a newsflash. Once you get to know an American, they'll also be your friend for life. The thing is, though, they don't use this as an excuse to be a jerk in the beginning. This list sounds great coming from an American. I was totally the one who should have read this one, but I digress. On a totally different but very popular misconception, Americans are the only ones who call football soccer. Actually, a lot of the world calls it soccer.
I don't really care
Even
about
parts
this.
of Ireland still call it soccer. Oh, what do I mean by still? I'm glad you asked. It was actually the British who coined the term soccer. The word soccer is an abbreviation of association and first appeared in universities in the 1880s, sometimes
how do they
using the
turn that
variant
word
spelled
around?
soccer with a K. The word is sometimes credited to Charles Redford Brown, an Oxford University student said to have been fond of shortened forms such as brekkers for breakfast and rugger for rugby football. Britain actually started using the word football in the late 20th century, possibly because people incorrectly saw it as an Americanism. This next one, Tristan couldn't believe. Could you not?
No.
I'm learning something. To our American viewers, did you know that people in Europe make fun of you for using air conditioning? Why do they do
Yeah,
it?
I've
Why don't they
heard
just
that a few
leave the
times
window
lately.
open? Mosquitoes, at least in Florida. But here's why they might be joining us soon. During the 2003 European heatwave, 70,000 people died. This was in large part due to the fact that European homes and buildings are not typically equipped with air conditioning.
So they've had 26 years and ain't done shit for it. Because I still see those issues on Twitter. 23 years later, they ain't changed nothing.
While they laugh at the Americans for this, hotter summers are going to force them to take appropriate measures.
Clearly
Especially
not.
since children and the elderly are very susceptible.
Clearly
Again, I
not.
stand by mosquitoes. I'm not opening my window in the summer.
Or
Winter,
wasps.
absolutely. Open windows.
Or also people calling again.
Moving into the top 9, that's the weird number. Top 9. Many parts of the world accuse the United States of accounting for 25% of the world's carbon emissions. Not so nice. But it also accounts for 25% of the world's economic activity. The truth is that several
25
nations,
nice.
including countries like Canada, have higher per capita emissions than the US. Next, let's talk about how the world thinks Americans are ruining English. Actually, both British English and American English have diverged from a common 16th century ancestral standard, and in some ways, American English is closer to the original than British English.
Who cares?
For example, American English has, for the most part, retained the language's rotosity, pronunciation of the R in words like hard, while British has, for the most part, dropped it. Furthermore, this shift in British English happened around the time of the American Revolution when wealthier Londoners wanted to distinguish themselves from the lower classes. This is only one example, but it goes to show that British English is not an unchanging standard any more than American English. On a totally different note, did you know that Americans don't all live in the suburbs? Nope, not true. The fact is that in America, you have plenty of people that live in cities like New York, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, and the list goes on. In fact, several regions of the United
No shit. People live in cities. Yeah, that's how cities become cities. Who knew? Who knew people lived in cities? Why am I a hater? Why am I? See, this is the Southern in me coming out. Southerners are bitches.
States are
We are
very
rude.
European, like the Northeast Corridor, for example.
The what?
The difference between the U.S. and Europe is that if you want to live in the suburbs in the U.S., you can, but you don't have to. Now, this next one is just offensive. Americans are all dumb rednecks.
I mean,
Well, there are
Southerners
certainly
are.
Americans who fit this stereotype. The vast majority
Hell yeah, brother. I can think of a few who fit that stereotype. Mainly in the South.
don't. Most Americans live in cities near the coasts. Most of them are educated, and most of them are not very different from Europeans in any significant way. Every country has a less educated populace that they themselves make fun of. Even sophisticated nations like Sweden and Switzerland. Fair warning, the last 5 on our list get a bit dark and crazy, starting with the idea that America is imperialistic. In many parts of Europe, the United States is seen as an aggressive imperial power, even more so than Russia and China. This is largely because our military presence both in Europe and everywhere else. But in our strong defense, Americans never forced you to watch our movies, quarter our soldiers, obey our laws, or get permission to leave your own countries. It was the Russians that did that, and much, much more. Food for thought, after World War II, the Americans liberated and left. The Russians liberated and stayed. All right, number 4 is sure to be a shocker to a lot of foreigners.
What are we getting at with that?
Americans don't actually all walk around with guns. It's just not true. Except
in the South, they do. In the South, people open carry. My grandpa gets so mad when he can't open carry somewhere. Yeah, it sounds a little interesting. Come to the South and see how
for a few
much.
places, the only people you'll ever see carrying guns in America are the police. In fact, you'll see more people walking around with guns in Switzerland than you ever would in America. Okay. We admit that, like most stereotypes, there is some truth to this next one, but it's been wildly blown out of proportion. Americans are all crazy Christian right-wingers. There's something so right about saying it with that accent.
2019. Come to 2026, brother. Come to 2026. You want to see how it looks nowadays?
Yes, there are a lot of Christians in America, and while some of them are crazy right-wingers,
a lot of them are.
Most of them aren't. In fact, if you ever get a chance to go and stay with one of those crazy Christian families,
I live with them. No, thank you.
You'll see that most of them are just genuinely sweet people that go to church on Sunday.
Tell them you're gay and see what they say. See what they say of that. That's.
This next one sounds like a legit stand-up joke. If you get injured and can't pay for it, you'll just die in the street.
Well,
yeah, many people in Europe think this is what happens in America.
You'll go in debt.
As with most things that concern America, they're wrong. You can't be denied emergency medical care in the U.S. That would go against the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, but you'll go in debt, and then you can't afford anything, and then you'll die because you can't afford life after going in debt.
The difference is that you get a bill in the mail a few months later.
And then you can't
debt
afford
is another
anything.
issue, but let's get into that right now.
Because also, a lot of Americans, me included, don't go to any kind of ER because we can't afford it. So that's definitely one factor. I would rather wait than just not go at all.
Americans are all in debt.
Yes.
Actually, European citizens carry more debt than Americans.
I want
The
to see
average
that
household debt in the
nowadays.
US, OECD, is 113% of the household's income.
What is
In
that
the UK,
now?
it's 156%.
What is
Sweden,
it now?
173. And in Denmark, it's a whopping 305%. So, what are some misconceptions about the US that you'd like cleared up?
YouTube, if you disagree with me, let me know down below. If you like what I said, maybe subscribe, like, comment,